Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about the 2020 U.S. presidential primary. And today is a progress report. We're just going to take a snapshot right now in June 2019 and say, where are we at? Where's the action at, right? All right, so let's talk about it. All right, so I won't bury the lead here. The race right now, according to us, Yang supporters, and the media, is a 3+1, okay? All right, so the three right now, the media has hyper-focused on three candidates and saying this is a three-person race. And what they're saying is it's Biden, it's Sanders, it's Warren. They have leapt in front of the pack, and they're what matter now, okay? Very, very interesting focus coming from the media, right? Now, what do we Andrew Yang supporters say? Well, we see the +1. We think it's a 3+1 race, right? So we're paying attention. We know what's going on with Biden and Sanders and Warren, and I'm going to talk about them in detail in a moment. But let's talk about Yang for a minute. All right, so he's the +1. Okay, now I'm a huge fan of fast car movies. I see every single Fast and Furious film. I've seen every single Fast and Furious film on opening night. And there's a lot of them, right? I'm just a huge fast car movie. I've seen Days of Thunder. I've seen a ton of race movies, right? And fast car movies, they're just awesome. And here's the thing: in a fast car movie, you have this trope scene where the protagonist, their car is started last in the pack, and so you have this long 5-10 minute extended scene where the protagonist, the commentators don't even see, the commentators on the race are saying, oh, the number one car comes out and it goes around the corner, and here the number two car is right behind him. We see a drift from number 3, right? And the commentators, the race commentators, they just see the lead cars, right? But, the fans, right, they see that protagonist race car all the way in the back, passing cars. That's where Yang is right now. He's executing flawlessly. He is passing candidates. But he started back in the pack, and he's still in the pack, right? And this is the part of the movie where we watch, our car just pass car after car after car, still being ignored by the race commentators, right? And that's where Yang is. He's really doing a great job. The Stephen Colbert appearance was hugely helpful, right? I think that's really massive. You know what the best thing about the Stephen Colbert interview was? It wasn't Stephen Colbert interviewing Andrew Yang. It was Stephen Colbert interviewing Tom Holland for the upcoming Spider-Man movie, ending the Tom Holland sketch, the Tom Holland interview, and just sitting there with Tom Holland and saying, we'll have Andrew Yang on next. Because I can tell you right now, there is like a million young people who are absolutely glued to the television set when Tom Holland is on, and just hearing Andrew Yang's name a hair's breadth away from Tom Holland is going to be hugely helpful, right? And those are the type of serendipitous point in time events that are really, really helpful, right? So it's a big deal. And also, it's fascinating. Tom Holland and Andrew Yang were in the same building. Did they meet? Did they talk? Who knows? It's really fascinating. So it's really, really interesting. All right, let's stay focused. All right, so our +1, he's zipping through the pack right now, and I couldn't be more proud of him. I'm really, really excited. One of the things, I do want to share this really quickly. I'm just so thrilled to see Andrew Yang just continuing to go in and take every interview he can and deal with Americans and show a huge amount of hustle and show grit and endurance. And I'm just really, really proud of him. It's really nice to have a candidate that you can be all in for, because, every indication that, I believe Andrew Yang is a good person, a kind person, a person who really wants to show love and respect to our nation as a president, right? And and everybody thinks that about their candidate, but a lot of times when you get in close with a candidate and you're watching them hyper closely, you could just see like that. Oh man, there's flags everywhere, and good Lord, people who are following Trump, there's just flags everywhere, right? So, but it's really nice, that like I really feel that Andrew Yang is living up to this idea that he's just a good person. I'm really excited having a good person be president of the United States of America, but again, not the lesser of two evils, not a political maneuvering, but just a kind person who is intelligent and is going to be able to do a good job. And I really, every day, I believe more that Andrew Yang is the right candidate to be a great president for this nation. And I'm really excited, and I'm really enjoying supporting him. All right. So I talked about the plus one, right? Let's talk about the three, okay? So the media has said, okay, we're tired of following all 25 of these candidates. Let's just focus on three. And to their credit, it really does seem lately that Biden, Sanders, and Warren are shoving back the pack, right? And really standing out now, right? So let's talk about them in detail. All right. So two of them, I don't think we have to worry about. One of them, we absolutely have to worry about from the Yang side. Let's talk about it. All right. Biden is, so I feel like the key, Biden topples himself. That's the new banner line, right? Biden topples himself. All right, in chess, you have inaccuracies, mistakes, and blunders. Inaccuracies are when you could have made a better move, but the move you made was fine, but it was possible for you to have made a better move. A mistake is when you are winning the game and you go to even, right? A blunder is a move that can absolutely lose you the game. It's losing your queen without retribution. That's a blunder, right? And so inaccuracies are the least offensive, are the least damaging. Mistakes are the next damaging, and blunders are terribly damaging. All right, so like if you look at Biden, he is taking himself out. I don't think a single candidate should focus on defeating Biden. Biden defeats himself, right? Just look at it, right? Personal space, that is a blunder, right? Hyde Amendment flip-flop, mistake, right? Sympathizing with segregationist Congress people, that is a blunder, right? Promising that him being elected as president will equal a cure for cancer, blunder, right? And those are just the blunders we've seen so far, right? And it just seems like every single day, Biden is absolutely set up to make more and more and more blunders, right? And one of the things that I think really helps us is Biden is under incredible pressure, right? Incredible pressure. And in my opinion, he is not strong for this. He is not tempered for this. And the reason why is he is a fighter coming out of retirement, right? So basically, it's very, very clear Biden did not expect to be here, right? He didn't want to be here. I think Biden wants to be playing golf in Florida, right? He doesn't want to be running for president. The only reason he is not here because he has a vision for America. He is here as a rescue mission to get rid of Trump. And that is not good enough. It is not a reason to run, right? And the reality is, here's the key, right? He has not been preparing for the last 4 to 6 years to run. He was really preparing for retirement. He was picking what colors he wanted, in his Florida home, right? On the wall, right? He was looking at paint swatches, right? And now you could see he is not sharp and strong and indestructible, right? Because he hasn't made himself to be, because he was literally dragged out of a bin to accomplish a task for the Democrats. And I feel that shows every single day, and that lack of will to do the job for the American people, just a reactionary, let's stop Trump, it's going to make him suffer every single day. And I think every day that passes, Biden becomes more of a threat to himself. No candidate should waste a single time trying to defeat Biden, because Biden will do that task all on his own. All right, let's talk about Sanders. Sanders is I have a ton of respect for Sanders, but I'm going to tell you the problem Sanders has, okay? All right. Sanders, I've learned a ton about Bernie Sanders in this election, far more than I ever knew. I think he's an American patriot. I think he is a person who works hard. I think he's incredibly intelligent, okay? But he made a mistake 3 decades or more ago, and that mistake is undoable, and it will do him in. And here it is. All right, Bernie Sanders is a socialist, right? I could say that unequivocally because Bernie Sanders said it. Bernie Sanders, like 3 decades ago, took the socialism sticker and wiped it clear across his forehead with pride, right? For 3 decades, Bernie Sanders has waved the flag of socialism, right? And I understand he's a social democrat, and there's a difference between a social democrat and a social Marxist. But what I'm saying is that when you run for presidency, that difference is not wide enough, right? We are America. We are capitalists. China is socialist. If you say you are a socialist, then people are going to connect you with the #1 banner carrier in the world for socialism, which is China, right? And that's the issue is, right now, China is the greatest threat on the planet to America, right? No, and the reason why is because of their power, their drive, their momentum, right? And and they have a whole bunch of people where they live. They deny them human rights, and they deny them rule of law, right? And the reality is, we as America are going to need to stand up to them in the coming years. And Americans in mass, okay? Americans, the ones that Bernie is going to need to win, the cheeseburger-eating Ford F-150 driving people are absolutely not going to have someone who has a socialist sticker planted across their forehead, who has been wearing that socialist sticker, for 30 years. There's no way, when people know that we could very well, that we at minimum, we are going to maintain a trade war with China, and that war might get far more specific than trade, right? There's absolutely no way they're going to see somebody, they're going to put somebody in as at the macro level. I know there's millions of Bernie supporters who fully understand and accept the difference between a socialist Marxist and a socialist Democrat, right? But the reality is, at the mass level, at the 51% level, you can't find enough Americans in America. You can't find 51% of American voters who will say, yeah, I acknowledge that distinction. Because some people won't even see the distinction. Some people won't acknowledge it. And there's absolutely no way Bernie defeats Trump, because Trump will beat him about the body and head with his socialist sticker, right? And it's gonna be terrible. So the fact that Bernie called himself a socialist, stickered himself as a socialist, you cannot win American elections as a self-avowed socialist, right? Now, I do understand the difference between a socialist Marxist and a socialist Democrat, right? And so I understand that as a Democrat, you absolutely can have a whole huge long list of socialist policies, right? But you cannot call yourself a socialist. You can't do it, right? And Bernie is learning that right now. I think he's trying to scrape that sticker off his head at some points, right? So I think he because he's so smart, he acknowledges the problem, right? All right. Biden and Bernie are not problems to Yang. They are not true competitors. Biden will take himself out. Bernie, there's no way you can win as a self-avowed socialist. You can't win the American presidency as a self-avowed socialist. Bernie should have known that. He didn't. He should have learned this. He should have learned back in 2016 that the American people were never going to allow this, right? And then, and right now he's doing what he can, but he's got no shot. He has a shot at winning the primary. He doesn't have a snowball's chance in the hot place of ever beating Trump as a self-avowed socialist, right? And so that's a big problem. All right, let's talk about the real threat. Who is the real threat in the room to Andrew Yang? Ding, 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 ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. It is Elizabeth Warren. And this is very, very, very surprising. Elizabeth Warren, she was the drifting candidate, right? Biden was way out in front. Sanders was like just near his bumper, right? And Warren has been drafting Bernie, right? Warren has been drafting Sanders, okay? Now, get this. Why is Elizabeth Warren an absolute rock star right now? You'll never guess the reason. The reason Elizabeth Warren is an absolute rock star right now is Pete Buttigieg, right? So Elizabeth Warren she has really shown herself to be incredibly strong candidate, and she's exceeding expectations, and here's why, okay? It's these specific policy stances. She has this new saying, I have a plan for that, and she genuinely does. It's not just a saying. She genuinely does have a plan for all these different weird contingencies, and she is continuing to make incredibly specific policies, right? And you know why the media is now eating this up? It's because Pete Buttigieg has shown his true face, right? So here's the kicker, right? Pete Buttigieg came in, he was super young, he was vibrant, he was a Harvard linguist, he was everything the media loved, right? But interview after interview after interview after interview, he kept saying, oh, I don't have any policy specifics. Let me give you another platitude. Let me smile at you again. Let me tell you about my home life, right? Like, it's just like a million things other than specific policies. And I think what happened is they gave weeks and months for Pete to come out and start saying, okay, this is what I actually stand for. This is my ability to actually build policy, right? And he never did, right? He kept showing, like, I'm a puppy spinning my, I'm a puppy, look at my shiny coat, right? And I think the media was like, oh, crap, man, there's no there, right? And so they just started looking around. And when they looked around, oh, boy, here comes Elizabeth Warren. And Elizabeth Warren has done the work that Pete Buttigieg failed to do, right? Pete Buttigieg had the goodwill of the media, and he lost it because he was lazy. He should have done massive amount of works very, very quickly, spun out specific policies. He did not do that, right? And I think the media is like, oh, well, we love Pete Buttigieg, but we really can't have, a presidential candidate that is not genuine about this job, right? And you can't keep handing platitudes out. You can't keep handing smiles out. You can't keep handing comments about, about history out when people are saying, what are you going to do about this specific thing? Where's your specific plan? And so Pete Buttigieg opened this huge, just took all the goodwill of the media and handed it to Elizabeth Warren. And I will tell you right now, Elizabeth Warren is a lot like Bernie Sanders, but without the socialist sticker. You get all the intelligence. You get all the fighting spirit. You get almost all the super socialist policies and stances and maneuvers, right? But people think of her as an American because she said, I'm an American, right? She didn't 30 years ago slap a socialist sticker on her forehead and carry it proudly for 3 decades, right? So she is not now she's not incredibly tied to China, right? Like that's the issue, right? It's like so clear. Who on earth thought that you could just become a self-avowed socialist in America and that would take you to the White House? That is absurd. It's ridiculous, right? And Elizabeth Warren was smart enough to know, hey, you could totally use socialist policy, socialist standards, socialist maneuvers, but you cannot be a self-avowed socialist. That doesn't work, right? And so that's the issue is, Elizabeth Warren is Bernie Sanders without the socialist sticker. And that's big. That is big. Because the reality is, I have huge respect for Bernie. He is a mover and shaker. He works hard. He's got great policies, right? But he's a self-avowed socialist. You cannot have a self-avowed socialist as president of the United States of America. And the reason why is, is basically the people who eat cheeseburgers and drive Ford F-150s. They saw Red Dawn. They remember it. Wolverines, right? If you don't know what that means, then then basically most likely you're a coastal elite, right? And you're going to be there for Bernie, but you ain't never going to have any of the people who know what the cry Wolverines means there. And you cannot win an election without people who know what Wolverines means. You can't do it, right? But Elizabeth Warren, shockingly, does know what Wolverines means. She knows what it means to project being an American, and that the image matters, right? Because when you have a socialist sticker on your head, a lot of people don't just see the word socialist, they see red and they see a hammer and a sickle, right? Like that's the issue, okay? And it's pretty incredible. But I will say, woo, usually I will say, oh, hey, check it out, man. Here's this problem that Yang has, and here's the solution. I am a little scared because I don't know what the solution right now is for Elizabeth Warren. She came out of nowhere, right? She is showing the big guns right now, man. She is really just basking in the glow of the goodwill that she utterly stole from Pete Buttigieg, and it was a well-deserved stealing, right? Pete Buttigieg absolutely just sat on his laurels, right, and let that goodwill be taken by not stepping forward, not giving specific policy, policy details, right? And so Elizabeth Warren is absolutely the true threat. I'm going to give some thought on it. I without a doubt, I think Yang can absolutely beat Elizabeth Warren. I just don't know how yet, right? Elizabeth Warren has really emerged as the truest threat. She's Bernie Sanders without the socialist sticker, and boy, is that dangerous. That's my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion on the matter. Do you think Elizabeth Warren is the greatest threat to Andrew Yang right now? I do. Let me know in the comments below, please. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a very wonderful millennium.